Hello, one and all, and welcome to round 5 of the TTML Division 5 Championship. We're here today for the French Grand Prix, and for the second week running, you are in the unfortunate position of being greeted by my voice to kick off the stream. Of course, as per usual, my co-commentator for tonight, we'll run it with that. Had faced some issues in setting up the stream, but he is still with us there. It is Mr. James Head. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing really well, Dan. I think it's going to be a fascinating night of action here in Division 5, and of course, it is that typical Friday night where I cannot stream. This time, however, it's a YouTube problem rather than my end, so I'll blame it all on the content creators that unfortunately have had the privilege of getting their viewers and everything down. But what happened last time out in Baku was Rock City won Nella second, Zero won third. A crazy race in Baku last week. And Dan, do you want to run us through the championship standings?
I can indeed. So after that race in Baku really actually switched things up, but the main constant seems to be TTGaming still leads the way, 77 points at the top. Jatros, the newly promoted full-time driver, is second on 70. Behind that is Invictus on 57, then Nellis and Jimmy Storm tied 4th place on 52. Behind that, you have 6th place Jemetsky and the Williams, then in front of Sammy King Ferrari on 46 points. Behind that, Passels on 44, Zero on 43, Rock City on 40, rounds out the top 10. Then outside the top 10 you have Stay and Rambo on 33, Silas 12th on 29, then Bart behind that on 24. I believe the highest placed reserve driver as of the last round. I'm not sure since then he's been given a full-time seat, but behind that, 14th is Serve the Blessed on 23 points, then Storm and Freak Vrog tied on 22. A little bit of a gap down, Jeffrey sits in 17th on 16. Behind that, Tornheim in 18th on 15. Then to round off the top 20 in the order, it's Maka and Hulkenberg both on 8 points. Just as we get ready into it then, I'll run you through the constructors quickly. Mercedes have a pretty handy lead, 117 points ahead of Racing Point second, 81. Williams third on 71. Behind that comes Ferrari on 63. Narrowly in front of Renault on 62 points. Red Bull behind that on 59. McLaren then on 57. 8th place AlphaTauri 48. Haas on 31. And rounding out the constructor standings is Alfa Romeo on 22 points.
Yeah, I've just noticed something just within the lobby. Invictus forgot to choose his car, and he's been put in the Red Bull. Now that's a problem because I don't think he's here. I don't think he's obviously been taking control of his to choose his car. It's put him in the Red Bull, but my understanding will be he will pick up the points for himself. But I don't think he'll pick up the points for Red Bull with him being in that car. If somebody can confirm in the comment section about that, that'd be great. But yeah, I did see that. Unfortunately, before this stream, we might be in a position to restart. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how that all goes down, of course. Yeah, I think that's a rather logical way of doing things. In the end, if you don't if you don't get into your car, you might as well not be able to pick up the points in the constructors' standings. We'll see how that all goes down, but of course now we can focus in front of the action coming out on track. So starting off there, we are of course here at France Paul Ricard circuit, and we'll see how this 18-minute qualifying session shapes up. It's a track that's, I'm going to be honest, not particularly loved, particularly in the real world, but I actually like it on this game. So we'll see if the action lives up to it. After a series of very dramatic races, I can expect no different here from the French Grand Prix. Let's get this underway then. 18 minutes of qualifying in front of us. The first car going out onto the lap is going to be our new driver, I believe, Clausen. I'm not sure if that's exactly what it's supposed to be pronounced like, but he is going to go out there, and we'll see how the Danish driver is able to get on in that Haas and see if how he compares to the rest of the drivers here in D5.
Yeah, of course, he actually signed up just last night for Division 5, so he comes in pretty much like a baptism of fire right here tonight in France, and we are, of course, here in Le Castellet in France, and that's the best the French pronunciation you'll probably hear from me all night, because I can only say one word in French, that's bonjour. There you go.
Impressive, James. Very impressive. But I'm saying that mine isn't much better. But let's get on to things then here tonight. Of course, we have Clausen out there on an outlap at the moment there as we gear up for the Flyers coming up very, very shortly. So we're going to take you through that. I'm going to need to get a track map up. Trap map up. Yeah, this is going to be a great night, isn't it, for me? Let's get this one going then. Of course, close it now, lining up there. We'll see what time it's going to be. I think time's around here about in the, I'd say, 1 minute 28 sort of range. We'll see how that is going to go down. So over the line now comes close in. Let's get this lap started. So over the line to kick things off there, you line up turns 1 and 2, that little chicane there. You've got to try and carry the apex speed, 5th gear all the way through. One out on the exit and power out. You've got to carry the momentum, make sure you're making the most of it. Now, heading into turn 3 then, scooping into the apex there, you've got to try and use the curbs here as much as you can. Line up turn 5, and then turn 6, coming through there at the end of the first sector, 22.7 through there then. Use the track, use the AstroTurf on the exit, fly flat out through turn 7 and on to the Mistral straight. You can get up to very high speeds there, the highest you'll see on the track with DRS open, and now immediately you're going to be on to the brakes, down into the Mistral chicane there, take that in 4th gear, down into 3rd, to the second part of the corner, open up on the exit of turn 9, and you're back on the throttle again. No DRS this time, but it's still a prime overtaking spot. Watch that. Come the race, it should be easily flat out, heading through turn 10, the car has enough downforce to stick into there, then through turn 11, they're slowing a bit down there, medium speed, right-hander, take it in 5th gear, get back out on the exit, then ease it to the right-hand side of the track to open up turn 12 thereafter, then difficult traction zone as they head through the kick of turn 13, and then in a turn 14, hook the curve on the inside, a lot of different lanes you can run through here, and then you gear up for the final corner lap at turn 15, clips the apex on the inside, not a great curve to be touching, but you're back on the throttle again, and close in does a 1:29.8 to kick things off there. That lane is a lot further down the pit straight than I remember. Tornheim does go faster though, 1:29.3, so early lap coming in from Tornheim. Staying Rambo even faster, and that's the exact same time. Remarkable, and I think that's a little bit of an inconsistency to what you usually see in real life, where I would say it's the time is gets the nod in terms of the positions, but there is the other way around. It's Steen Rambo getting the upper hand then on his teammate Tornheim, and sets the top of the timesheets at the moment there on a 1:29.3, as I think we had Shemetsky going through, but that's not very competitive on the mediums. Looks like most of the drivers are going to be on the softs. We'll see how they all compare in the early stage here in quali.
Oh, Jack Reese is just invalidated through the final corner. It was looking like a nice lap from the Belgian, but sadly for him, he's invalidated as he runs across the line. It would have been a 1:30.2 from him. They will pull off the side of the track as the Mercedes of Rock City, I believe, has just started on the lap as well. Yellow flag in sector 3 is Jack Reese getting out of the way. Nelson comes in there into 3rd, and the McLaren 1:29.4. And as if the conditions were to improve, if the sun was to come out, this track will evolve big time, I think, out on track. You could be seeing improvements, maybe a second improvement on what we're currently at, 29.313, both for Steen Rambo and Tornheim. It's as if the Alpha Tauris have been sharing their setup and everything like that. Everything is in sync so far.
Yeah, we'll see if that holds up though throughout the rest of this session. I think Close Ed is going actually a little bit quicker on this second lap. Does improve, not by much, stays in 4th place in the moment there, goes on to a 1:29.6. I'm expecting times in the 28s to be honest, but we will see if that is going to actually come to pass then. So who's next up to come over the line then? I think we're going to be looking at, I think one of the McLarens, no, there's a Racing Point coming through then over the line. So we're just starting to gear up then. Most of the first runs seem to be over. I think Shemetsky is heading round, but on an invalid lap. So it's a bit of a quiet point there, a bit tentative for a lot of the drivers. We'll see that AlphaTauri sort of formation up the front is going to be upset there. They still hold the front 2 positions, but you have so much time in this session for those times to be toppled.
Well, I'm riding on board with one of the sister cars. It's Invictus coming round turn 14, and he's looked really quick on this lap, if I've got to be honest. And Invictus should, I think, go ahead of Steen Rambo on this lap. Invictus now down the start for the tree. You can see him running adjacent towards the pit wall across the line, and that's the first James Head prediction that I've got right. It might not be the last either. 1:29 flat from Invictus. He goes to the top of the standings, 0.3 of a second ahead of Steen Rambo. He looks so quick. It was a 49.5. Coming through that middle sector split. and immediately he was about 2 or 3 tenths ahead of Stian Rambo, so I knew that Invictus was on a good lap there. We've got Shumi as well, his teammate on a lap coming through turn 11, and Shumi has been delivering some good performances as of late. He's down in the standings currently. Well, he's not actually scored any points, I do believe, so this is Shumi's either first race, or certainly this is going to be one of the races that he is actually going to score, hopefully, points at, but not like that as he goes wide through the final corner.
Yeah, he made a little bit of an error going through turn 12 as well, so not the cleanest last sector from Shumi, and that puts him down in 7th place at the moment, second bottom out of the soft runners in the moment, but there is still a lot of time to try and turn that around, of course, in the later stages of this quali session. Who's on the lap? Shimetsky is heading round now, coming out of the final corner, turn 15, powering to the line on the medium still. Where is that going to be? It is a 130.9, so Shimetsky not quite getting the most out of it at the moment. I'm not entirely sure of the tyre compound gap here at France exactly, but there must be more time to find there. Jimmy Storm comes through and is slightly slower than Shimetsky was. So the medium runners not making a huge impression. Expect most of the drivers to swap to the soft tyres, because I think the strategy at this track, soft to hard is very possible to pull off there. Soft to medium isn't out of the equation, but that's going to take a lot of tyre management to try and pull off. Soft to hards, I'm not entirely sure, but that may well be a preferable strategy here today.
Yeah, just to come on to the point about the qualifying times. Currently it's a 29th lap from Invictus. All of those guys that are currently on a set of medium compounded tyres will tend to find anywhere between 1.5 seconds and 2 seconds on a lap. It is that much that they can gain possibly on a lap. It was proven in Division 2 quite a few times last night. It'll be very interesting to see how they get on. I'm aboard with Maze on a lap. The current championship leader, Stian Rambo, has left the session. So hopefully he'll get back in. He's not happy, obviously, with Invictus taking pole position from him for now, but Maze coming through 10, 14 and 15. And now Maze was a 49.9 through the middle sector. He's about to come across the line. He's going to be there or thereabouts. I think he'll go into 4th, to be honest, across the line. And, do you know what? I'll take that. 29.4. He's only 13 hundredths off. He's 5th.
Not bad, James. Not bad at all. We'll see. You're actually on a pretty good run tonight. I'm impressed so far, but there's still a long way to go for you to get some wrong, I'm sure. So let's get things headed on then. Keep moving forward. Next up over the line, I believe it's going to be NSR Storm there. Jatro's in front there. It's going to have to get out of the way in that Rhino. Oh, no! Sending a time at the moment then. Storm, not the best lap. It looks like it's going to be one 32.5 currently down at the bottom, so we'll see if he can improve a little bit further on that as we head through the latter part of the session. I'm not sure what exactly you're seeing, James, but I can hear the reaction. What's going on?
Maka just running wide, coming through turn 9, still on the valid lap, 50.1 through the middle sector. And of course, remember, Maka's first race here, he scored, I think, a 6th place out on track, which was fantastic to see. And Maka hopefully will be hoping for a better result. I think he appeared in China, but looking through turn 12, really struggling through there. But so far, so good on this lap. I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, and I guess I'll kick off my predictions for today. I'll say he goes between Closet and Satmi King. Let's see how that's going to turn out for Maka. Then coming in at turn 15. No, he's actually backed off the lap completely. So that's not the best. Oh dear, oh dear. Is that going to set the tone for tonight then? Oh, come on, Maka, you've let me down there. 134.3 is the final lap time. Hopefully he improves though. See if he can maybe serve me a little bit better, and of course himself better throughout the remainder of the session. Maka down to 14, but I do think he has a lot more to provide later on in this session. I think Rockcity's on a very quick lap. I've just noted that time to the second sector. Might go into the front row. We'll see where that ends up. He is going to go into the front row. There's my first prediction for the night. Rock City does go into second place, just shy of Invictus. Invictus, though, is still out there on an outlap. So we'll see how that goes down then, and we'll see who else is able to try and improve on that time. But Invictus at the moment still sitting on provisional pole.
I'll correct you there. That was your second prediction of the night, and it's the first one you've got right. Yeah. But Rock City, really good lap from him in the Mercedes, 129.1. Stian Rambo, who still left the session. Shumi also left the session there, down in 9th position. He'd be hoping to try and come back in. 29.1 currently from Rock City. I think he can still find a little bit of improvement, you know. You normally see him very late on in these qualifying sessions really come to the fore, and hopefully he can just prove that here tonight. Parcells is on a lap just coming through turn 1. Jack Roos, I think, is on a lap coming through turn 8 and 9 as you open, I think, a can of Coke or something there. As Jack Roos now comes through turn 9, through the chicane Nord, as to give it its full name. It's not looking too bad through the middle sector here. 49.7 as Clausen improves up the third.
Yeah, he does put himself onto that second row then, and continuing to impress, I'd say, on this debut. Let's keep a close eye on Jatros 007 heading through the last part of the lap. I think that was Nilsson improving up into third place in the McLaren, so good on Nilsson. We'll see if he can try and hold on to there throughout the remainder of the session. Still keeping an eye on Jatros and Render though. Runs a little bit wide through 14, but gets back on the line. Heading through turn 15, struggles for traction on exit then. Can he get further up the grid? Currently sits in 18th place, but not anymore. That's up to 7th, and it's very, very tight, I must say, amongst the top 8 on the grid. Only about 4 tenths in per. I say that! That's been completely blown out of the water! Wow, a 128.4. That is completely blown everything else away. A stratospheric lap time from Invictus, many numbers then. That is 7 tenths clear. Incredible from Invictus. Can anyone top that? Then that's a huge margin to be up at the top.
We saw a similar lap to that in Baku last week, and I said immediately after he said it, it wasn't to be beaten. That lap around this track, 7 tenths is really hard to find. And I think Invictus has done it. I think Invictus will get pole position. I think the only one that could possibly challenge him, Rock City, maybe Torenheim as well. I think Torenheim can go a lot quicker than what is necessary. Salas and Passels, by the way, are both invalid on their lap. There's not many drivers out there, I don't think, that's actually on a lap. But Invictus out on top, just under 5 minutes to go. Rock City second, Nilsson in third. Was wisely informed as well by Mays about Invictus, and Invictus will be picking up points for his team. So that'll be for McLaren, not for Red Bull.
Okay, we'll see, of course, if he's able to put up a good showing for McLaren, though, as that turns out. Actually, having an incredible night so far. Both cars inside the top 3 as it stands. Of course, Invictus de facto McLaren driver, but of course there'll be maybe a little bit of confusion for tonight, but we can get over that, I'm sure. Heading near the end. Watching Freak Frog has actually done a relatively good first 2 sectors then. Is about 2 tenths up on his time, which could put him right onto that second row, maybe even challenging the likes of Rock City if he puts together a really strong last sector here. A little bit offline, heading through turn 11. He's got to try and pick that back up there for turn 12. Looking for the entry, and that looks like a nice enough run. Getting through, keeping the momentum going. Does the Williams driver elect to continue on this lap? He takes a very tight line on the entry, heading into turn 14. But a really open line in a turn 15. Carry the speed, but it runs very, very wide. Doesn't get the best exit. The Williams, there's a bit of a scrappy last sector. Can he improve it? Can he improve well? No. The last sector completely set his lap up to fail, and he still maintains that 9th position. Will not improve on a lap at the moment. Mays has come over the line. He has begun a flyer. It's a little bit quiet in general out there at the moment as Silas comes into the pit lane. So who's actually the furthest along, James? Is there anyone that's progressing well through a flying lap?
I think Mays is actually going to be the next one to come across the line, if I'm not mistaken. Mack is out there on an outlap coming through the middle sector split. There's a Haas out there, which I think is Hulkenberg. He's also out there on an outlap coming through the final sector now. The other Haas is just coming through the second sector. But yeah, I think Mays will be the next one to come across the line. Just to speak about Freak Gronk as well, a little bit of advice going forward for Freak Gronk. I gave this last night in Division 2, so just talk to me as a counsellor rather than a commentator here tonight. Freak Gronk, I think, just needs to power out of the corners rather than power into the corners.
Yeah.
That's where he lost the time.
Yeah, and that's going to really cost you, particularly in that third sector. We're just getting the speed out. It's slow and fast out. That's the sort of mentality you have to apply here. So we'll see if May's able to apply that nicely. Does get a really clean run, actually, going through turn 11. Sets himself up for turn 12, then open up the exit. And so we'll see. What have you noticed?
Good lap, this.
Yeah, we'll see if it's going to translate to time though. Maze again really tight on the entry in a turn 14, and now a nice clean run going through turn 15. I think this could maybe be onto the front row for Maze. Let's see where this is going to go. Storms out the session, but Maze does go. Oh, he ends onto the front row, just edging out Rock City. And those Mercedes drivers have been a real force as of late. Really been sapping their authority on that Constructors' Championship, but Invictus is still so far clear and on an outlap, maybe looking to improve it even further. So Invictus is at the moment looking absolutely dead set for pole position, and that is really intimidating. If he has that sort of pace advantage, then who knows if that translates to the race. Invictus could be onto a real winner here if he can avoid mistakes here tonight.
If he translates that into the race, nobody's going to beat him. It's as simple as that. I'm watching Clausen, though, coming through the middle sector. He's there or thereabouts, 49.5. He lost a little bit of time coming through from the first sector into the second sector, but Clausen is improving at this moment in time, and he needs to try and take these corners as, as wide as possible. So I have a little bit of a coughing fit. Clausen now coming through up towards turn 12, and let's see what the Hassman can do out on track. I believe Maze is still out there. Rock City is about to start an outlap, a full lap as well. For Clausen coming through turn 14 out on track. Torenheim is also out there on a lap as well. We are getting drivers joining back in the session, which is good to see. For Clausen now, can he beat Maze for second, I wonder? Across the line, yes he can. 28.8, really good improvement there from Clausen. He might be in reserve, but he's currently beating the championship leader.
Yeah, that is so impressive from Clausen immediately to making a mark in this division. Nilsson is also going round now, but I don't think it's quite up to the pace of Clausen. Does maintain that 5th place, only a minute improvement on to 129.1. We're now getting into the business end of things there in this session. Can Silas make it over the line? Oh, he's just made it to get onto a final flying lap. There was less than a second in that, but he's just about going on and will have a chance to improve further. Who's next up? Tornheim coming to the line indeed. Goes up to 4th place. Solid improvement of about 0.2 of a second is enough to put him onto the second row for the time being. I'm not sure who exactly you're tracking on an improvement at the moment.
Rock City, purple middle sector.
Ooh, okay. Let's keep an eye out then. He is currently on a 0.5 there. We'll see what he can do with that. Let's keep watching. Rock City then improvement. And actually, I think it was Jatrus goes up onto the front row. Jatrus a 128.8. Rock City a 0.5 to the middle sector. Let's see where that translates to the last sector. So here comes the Mercedes then powering out of turn 15, opening at DRS. Currently sets down in 6th place. Can he find a little bit more on this lap? He goes up to 4th. Less than a 10th improvement. Last sector maybe not as good as it could have been, but he will settle for that and he will try and maintain it. Is there anyone else to come through? Zvetsky's been held up. Mack is invalid. Silas is still going round. So Silas, no time on the board. Where's Nilsson? Nilsson
is about to come across the line. Nilsson across the line. Doesn't improve. 400th off in the end, so not bad. And that is the end of qualifying, I believe, because Silas is still out there on a lap. Really short lap. He's not going to get pole position from this at all. And the Racing Point man is going to go, I think, 15th possibly with this. Oh, he goes 14th. I'll take that. 30.8. He goes on for a set of soft compound of tyres. But Invictus, I did say that lap would not be for improving and not be beaten. And that was the case. Gavry second, Clausen in 3rd. Bit of a mixed up top 3, I've got to be honest. Rock City down in 4th.
Yeah, but yeah, Invictus, that was no other word for a stonking lap. Even then, he set that lap time relatively early in the session, and even with about 7-8 minutes to improve, no one got even near it, even with track evolution on their side. So that is hugely impressive. Jatros, though, able to secure a front row slot, maybe can use that as a platform to push forward in the championship. Clausen, great debut qualifying session. Can he convert that to the race? Mercedes have to settle for 4th and 5th on this occasion. 3rd row is rounded out by Tornheim 6th. Behind that is Nilsson and Stain Rambo 7th and 8th. Freak Bronk and Satmi King round out the top 10. And then with free choice attire from the races, Passel, Schumi, Hulkenberg, Silas, Smitsky, Jimmy Storm, Mack and Maka rounding out the grid. So that's it for qualifying, and now we look forward to the race coming up very shortly.
The same things happened as last week. I can now broadcast.
Oh my.
Are you having a laugh? We'll continue on as we mean to go on. Hopefully we might get a lobby start or something and I can start the stream on my end again. But Oh, absolutely unbelievable. Graham as well was having the same issues as well as Cowboy. Both of them, they're going to be commentating Division 3. I believe that is now live, so you guys can have a look at seeing them on action for Division 4 as well. We wait here.
That is just... Oh, that is simply remarkable. We'll see if history is going to repeat itself yet again ahead of this race.
I hope not.
Yeah, definitely. We do not need to go through all that again. That is for sure, and I'm sure the drivers would much rather avoid that yet again. What have you noted, James?
Just looking at Division 4, actually, wet qualifying session, intermediate conditions, Florian on top, Storm second, Vapor Damon, who used to be the championship leader here, Caller Damon, of course, in Division 5. He's currently in third, and roughly about 7/10 of a second covering the top three in terms of qualifying. I'm like Ted Profits going in between two races here.
If that's a role that you're pursuing in the future, then go for it. I'm sure that they'll accept a man like you. So
you're not having my lead commentator's role, put it that way.
I guess we'll see about that, but let's not get into that here tonight. We have a race to go ahead with, and hopefully a race that will not have to be restarted at some point, as has plagued, I think, most commentators on the PS4 side in the last week. So we'll see how things unfold. Of course, for this week, we have a fancy new penalties graphic to help us communicate. So there's no more race director checks. No worries there. So we can just be a little bit more efficient with that. Let's focus on what's going on at the moment, because you can see inside the top 10, everyone forced onto those soft tires. But outside the top 10, completely different story there, James.
Yeah, Shumi and Maka being the exception rather than the rule, and they're on a set of hard compound of tyres. Now, without any safety cars, they'll be aiming to get around 2/3 distance to get onto a set of soft compound of tyres. Now, the softs only last around 5-6 laps before they really begin to go off the cliff. They reach about 40% degradation when they get to lap 6 of that stint. So watch out for that as we go through. These top 10 are going to be struggling early on, I feel. Everyone else on a set of mediums, Parcells, Hulkenberg, Salas, Smitsky, Jibby Storm and Storm, really big mouthful to say those two names together. They're on a set of medium compounded tyres. They're going to be going probably to around the halfway stage. They might go on to a set of hard compounded tyres. There's a predicted pit stop strategy at 5 to 8 on a set of softs, and then lap 16 to 20, I think it was, onto a set of mediums. That's if drivers want to do the two-stop. Two-stop would work if there's safety cars. I think the one-stop's quicker, though.
We'll see if that unfolds, but yeah, it really just depends on the timing of safety cars, but I agree, in a clean race, that one stop is going to be the preferable strategy. As the lead commentator for tonight, I'm going to turn to you, James. What is your top 3 prediction for the race that's going to peep a hold for us in just a few seconds' time?
Invictus for the win. I'm going to go Rock City for second, and in third, I'm going to go for Maze. Keeping it nice and chilled so far.
Okay, let's see if that's going to be converted. You have been on a good run of form tonight, I must say, so we'll see if that is going to translate over to the race that we're about to be treated to. So Invictus and Jadros, outside bets for the championship, you have to say, both riding out that front row. We'll see if they're able to keep that going for the remainder of things then. As the back of the grid, Maka lines up in the Ferrari at the back, and now everyone settles, and I can see history repeating itself already here.
This is absolutely typical. This really is absolutely typical. I think it's because drivers have been joining during out qualifying, and we cannot get the race underway. I'm taking it from Invictus' point of view. Looking back through the grid, everyone seems to be there. There's green flags waving. I don't know why there is. I'm just trying to see who it might be that has actually fallen out of place. But I can't see anybody, to be honest. It must be one of the guys that rejoined during qualifying. So Stian, Rambo, Shumi, one of those, I think, possibly, we're waiting on.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any ghost cars on the grid, but I genuinely can't make out any. That's usually a sign of that. So yeah, very odd situation, and I love Codemasters servers. I really, really do. This is just great. So
and this game is meant to be esports ready. Just look where we are now. We haven't even started the racing in Division 5.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. You know, I saw drivers disconnecting and rejoining through qualifying. I kind of saw it coming, but I just didn't want to believe it. But alas, here we are. And yeah, I'm not sure unless the drivers in question do leave, we may well have to face yet another restart, or the lobby will probably crash on its own. In that case, we'll have to restart the broadcast again. Yeah. Wait, what's going on?
Freak Ronk has reported it's actually Invictus that we're waiting on, apparently. And Maka says he's in P1 as well. He's down there in P18. He's definitely not in P1. On our screen, he's not in P1. Invictus is the one we're waiting on. Now, I did rejoin that session at the lobby when I was having my issues just before. He was on a 1 bar, but then quickly went to a 5 bar. But it shouldn't really affect him because he's the lobby host. If that makes any sense to any technical person out there.
I think during our streams, I imagine they can't even hide their embarrassment while watching it. We've been sat here so long, the AWS graphics came off my screen for a second time. So that's the levels, folks. That's what we are looking at.
I don't know what's going to come first, Christmas or this race.
Certainly.
I've just seen movement of Invictus's car. Hang on a minute. Saw it move.
I've seen this bug, and so Invictus are leaving the lobby. Yep, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Well.